And here we go. Michael Harris about to make his Major League debut as an Atlanta Brave hitter. And the big crowd will welcome him in the big leagues today. And there's the first big league hit. There we go. Hopefully the first of 3,000.
On May 28th, Braves top prospect Michael Harris made his big league debut, becoming the youngest player in MLB today, less than a week younger than Wander Franco. Well, like Franco, Harris recently signed an extension with only 70 games of big league experience. 70 games is all it took for these two to be offered life-changing money. However, given the fact Franco was hyped as one of the best hitting prospects in recent memory, it makes sense why his contract is larger than Harris's. Still, these teams are taking huge risks in offering these deals so early into these players' careers. Injuries, regression, and a bunch of other factors can quickly derail a player's career. But that's the risk you take in order to keep a potentially elite player for less money in the long term. Well, the Atlanta Braves are building their team using this philosophy. Just a couple weeks before the Harris extension, third baseman Austin Riley agreed to a 10-year deal with less than 400 big league games played. Before the season started, first baseman Matt Olson signed an 8-year extension without even playing a game with the Braves. These three joined Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies as the foundation of this franchise for at least the next half-decade. While Albies and Acuna's recent injury history shows the potential risks in investing into a young core so early, the Braves have shown they can succeed, even without some of their best players. They've become masters of roster construction, which shows why they're one of the very few current teams with dynasty potential. However, it's not like they've uncovered some new strategy. The Braves are far from the first team to offer young big leaguers contract extensions. Before Wander Franco, Evan Longoria was the Rays' first franchise player. He was given a 6-year contract only 6 games into his big league career, which turned into one of the most team-friendly deals in baseball. Since Longoria, the Rays have given similar deals to guys like Chris Archer, Matt Moore, and Brandon Lau. However, it's not just the Rays who've given out these types of contracts. Ryan Braun, Christian Yelich, Paul Goldschmidt, Andrelton Simmons, Anthony Rizzo, Madison Bumgarner, and Salvador Perez are just some of the players who received multi-year extensions with less than 2 years of service time. However, not every one of these contracts are successful for the teams. Scott Kingery, John Singleton, and Evan White all signed multi-year guaranteed contracts before even playing a single big league game. While none of these were giant contracts, it shows that these types of deals are not always successful. But many teams feel the upside of these contracts outweigh the downside, and it's for one reason: cost certainty. As players go through their first 6 years of service time before free agency, there's the expectation they will get better. Of course, the better the player is, the higher the cost is to retain their services. After 3 years of service time, players enter the arbitration period, where players transition from league minimum salary to negotiating with their team for a larger salary on a per-year basis. But it's in the team's best interest to pay as little as possible. So, offering a young big league player a guaranteed salary for their first 6 years and possibly beyond is beneficial for both sides. It's guaranteed life-changing money for the player, and if everything works out, the team is paying the player at a more cost-effective rate. Although, what makes the Braves a little different is the extreme cases they have with Acuna and Albies, who are being paid well under market value considering their level of production so early into their careers. In fact, an agent said that the Braves have basically stolen hundreds of millions of dollars in their recent extensions to Acuna, Albies, Riley, and to a lesser extent, Olson, due to these players' projected value in the coming years. Still, this allows them to better allocate money for other players through free agency and trades, because they have created a cost-controlled core of players. But remember, even though they have this core, there is a 26-man roster that needs to be filled, and they all need to be effective to win a championship. The 2021 Braves lost their best player in the middle of the season and had an 8% chance of making the playoffs. They could have sold at the trade deadline, but instead they traded for outfielders Jock Peterson, Jorge Soler, Adam Duvall, and Eddie Rosario, who all had a great impact on this team's eventual championship run. With an already established core of great players like Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, and Dansby Swanson, to go along with an elite pitching staff with guys like Max Fried, Charlie Morton, Ian Anderson, Luke Jackson, Tyler Matzik, and Will Smith, the loss of Acuna didn't derail derail them from their ultimate goal. This comes down to an elite scouting department. You know how teams like the Dodgers and Rays can acquire a player and revitalize their career? Well, the Braves have similar powers. All 4 outfielders they acquired at the 2021 deadline all improved when they got traded to the Braves. As for the 2022 deadline, they were in a different position as playoff odds were much better this time around. Even so, they acquired Robbie Grossman, Raisel Iglesias, Jake Odorizzi, and Ari Adrianza. So far, most of these trades have been successful, with Grossman and Iglesias being their best acquisitions. Grossman in particular was struggling quite a bit before being traded, and he said the moment he got to Atlanta, the organization knew what he needed to work on. Hitting coach Kevin Seitzer said that the analytics guys have a program that can break down measurements and movements of a player's swing from year to year. What Grossman had been searching for with the Tigers was given to him the moment he became a member of the Braves. As a switch hitter, Grossman has had many seasons where he's clearly more comfortable against one type of pitcher. However, this year he's really struggled against right-handed pitching, and it's the worst split of his career. But since he's become a Brave, he's improved greatly. Then you got Raisel Iglesias, who signed a big deal with the Angels after a great 2021 season. Despite regressing a bit with the Angels this year, he's been a great addition to the Braves bullpen. A bullpen that looks geared up for a playoff run. And you can't ignore the great rotation they've built that's mainly been through the farm system. In order to become a baseball powerhouse, you have to do more than just trade for struggling players. You need to develop talent through the minor league system, and building a great minor league system takes savviness. Check out this trade the Braves made just days ahead of this year's draft. They traded 3 prospects, including once hyped center fielder Drew Waters, to the Royals for the 35th pick, which increased their draft bonus pool by $2.2 million, for a total bonus pool just over $10.2 million. Draft pick trades are very rare, so it was clear GM Alex Anthopoulos had a plan. In the MLB draft, you have to draft very strategically. Teams offer players signing bonuses that are based on what the pick is expected to be worth. This money comes from the draft bonus pool the team is assigned, and going over this allotted pool will result in financial penalties and/or future draft picks being lost. This is why the more riskier prospects with high bonus demands tend to fall down draft boards, despite their obvious talent level. So sometimes teams will draft a player in the first round who has lower salary demands in order to use the savings to draft a riskier player who falls down in the draft. For example, the Braves' 2022 first-round pick was at 20th overall, which had an expected pick value of just over $3.4 million. However, the player selected at this pick, high school pitcher Owen Murphy, signed for about $2.5 million, saving the Braves nearly $900,000 in bonus money they could give to someone else that falls in the draft. One of these players was 7th-round pick Adam Meyer, who received a $1.2 million signing bonus even though someone at this point should be given around $200,000. Why did he receive a bonus at the level of a 2nd-round pick? Well, Baseball America said he had some of the best stuff in the draft, but he underwent elbow surgery that put him out for 6 months, and his college numbers weren't exactly eye-popping. Still, without his current injury, he would have been drafted much earlier. Considering the MLB draft is far from a sure thing, taking risks like this is all part of the game. In fact, this sort of riskiness has worked out for the Braves recently. In the 4th round of the 2020 draft, the Braves selected a college pitcher who missed nearly 2 seasons due to Tommy John surgery. You want to take a guess on who that was?
Straw came out inside corner, 99. Wow. Freddie Freeman was hurt, and Strider elevates. Struck him out. And he strikes out the side here in the 2nd inning. He's closing in on record territory, folks. 8 in a row to start the game for Strider. There it is. 9 strikeouts. 9 outs for Spencer Strider. Ties a big league record.
While people outside the Braves organization saw Strider as a reliever, Team Vice President of Scouting Dana Brown said the team viewed Strider as a starter, and so far, it's worked out very well. Now look, every team takes risks like this in the draft, but it's clear the Braves are one of the best at drafting and developing these players. In fact, Dana Brown deserves credit for how the Braves currently look, as he was really high on both Strider and Harris, saying Harris was a top 5 high school bat in the 2019 2019 draft despite taking him in the 3rd round. He was also responsible for the 2019 first-round selection of Shea Langoliers, who was a key piece in the Matt Olson trade. All of these reasons are why the Braves core looks like this. Most of these guys are not eligible for free agency for at least 5 more years, and they're all performing incredibly well. Plus, this doesn't even take into account the possibility of shortstop Dansby Swanson receiving a new contract. Right now, the Braves have the 9th highest payroll in the league, but they're well under the CBT threshold of $230 million, which goes up to $233 million next season. So they have plenty of money to play with if they want to re-sign Swanson, especially if they can somehow get out of Marcell Ozuna's contract in the offseason. If they do, maybe they can use some of that money to re-sign Max Fried or Kyle Wright. All in all, the future looks incredibly bright in Atlanta. But there's a reason why I only say the Braves might turn into a dynasty, and it's more than just losing in the playoffs. Ahead of the 2020 season, the White Sox were being hyped up just like the Braves. In MLB history, only 5 players have signed contract extensions before playing a big league game. 2 of them are White Sox, Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, both former top 3 prospects. While they're both very talented players, neither of them have played more than 125 games in a season. All of these guys have produced in some positive way, some more than others, but ultimately, factors outside the team's control hindered the full potential of this team, mainly through injuries and regression. Yes, this is a big oversimplification of the White Sox situation, but the point is that if everything fell into place, the White Sox had a good chance for a sustained run of success. Like the Braves, they put themselves in a very strong position for success, and they're still well positioned for the future. But as of right now, it just hasn't gone their way. Without warning, the same thing could easily happen to the Braves. But here's the main difference between the Braves and the White Sox. The Braves have already won it all. The White Sox were in the playoffs for each of the past 2 seasons, but the Braves are a step ahead of them. They've proven they can win it all, even without their best player. This is why the potential of this Braves team is so high. They can legitimately become a dynasty because of how well run they are as an organization. The Braves were once a #1 farm system, and they've turned that into a successful big league team. Not all #1 farm systems can do that. Just look at the Padres. 1 playoff appearance since they were ranked as a #1 farm system in 2018. Compare that to the Braves. Right now, the Braves farm system is pretty depleted and will take a few years to retool. But if they can reach a point like the Dodgers where they have a World Series contending team and a top 5 farm system, the Braves will be a juggernaut for years to come. They've set themselves up for sustained success, and if luck goes their way, they can build something that hasn't been seen since the early 2010s Giants. We don't know what lies ahead for the Braves, so I guess we should just watch and enjoy the ride. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching.